Welcome. Today we are looking at demand. Okay, we're on Chapter 3, Season 1. We will be taking a deep dive in demand. And demand is one of the biggest things you need to know in regards to microeconomics. Okay, now with that, we're going to go through a little presentation. I'm going to write some stuff, and we'll try to make this as easy as possible. Now, first things first, when we look at demand, okay, we need to ask this question. What factors influence consumer demand in a market? Okay, Adam Smith had a great quote that goes, the more difficult it is to obtain a thing, the greater the desire to possess it. Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. With that, we need to understand what demand is, okay? Demand is not a want, but is the want and the ability of consumers to buy goods at different prices, okay? So if I want something, I could buy it. Now, if I want eggs, I could go to the grocery store. I could buy eggs, okay? That is a demand. What's not a demand? If I wanted maybe the Yeezy Red Octobers, those go for about $25,000, I would not be able to buy that, okay? So that is not demand. So we're looking at what it is that you can buy, okay? So if consumers want a product and consumers can afford that product, okay? This all reflects consumer behavior. Now, the law of demand. This is maybe the most important thing, and it's one thing that is a constant in economics, okay? When price increases, quantity demanded decreases. Now, what is quantity demanded? It's the quantity that people demand, okay? It's as simple as that. It's the quantity of things that people want and are able to buy, okay? So when price goes up, the amount of people that want stuff goes down, okay? When price goes down, the amount of people that want stuff goes up because we deal with this idea of scarcity. This is what we call a inverse relationship. This explains why demand goes in a downward slope, okay? Well, what is that downward slope that we're talking about? That is what a downward slope looks like, okay? A downward slope is actually going down. It's not like our PPC graphs, which has a curve, but we do call it a demand curve. We also have demand schedules, okay? Demand schedules are what shows us the quantity demanded of a good or service at various prices, okay? So a demand schedule shows different prices, and it also shows those with those prices the corresponding quantities of the demand. How many are people going to buy at that price? So we use this to visualize this, okay? And we draw graphs with it like I showed you before, okay? Now, this is what a demand schedule would look like. This is the price of a ribeye, 8-ounce ribeye, okay? If the price is at $13, well, 60 people might buy that a day. If the price is at, say, price is at $11, okay, 95 people might buy that, okay? It totally depends, but as you can see as the price goes down, okay, the quantity demanded goes up. More people are willing to buy something at a lower price, okay? And more people are willing to, or less people are willing to buy something at a higher price, which makes sense. That's human nature. So we talk about demand curves, okay? We have price and quantity on our demand curves. The graph might look like this. You might have price on the y-axis and you might have quantity on the x, okay? That's what sets up our graph, and that's what gives us our downward curve. Now, with that, demand curves, it slopes downward like we've talked about. It also, each point represents one price quantity combination, okay? So if I was going to graph, I would use price and quantity, okay? Now, there are two different changes that we see, okay? There is a change in quantity demanded, okay? change in quantity demanded. What does that mean? Well, with quantity demanded, you might have a change only in price, okay? It's only when there is a change in price. So to show that, we move it along the demand curve. This does not shift the demand curve though, okay? As you can see with this, you see a decrease in price, okay? The way we show, if something goes on sale, the way we show is we just move we have one dot, move it down, okay, and show that dot. Now, this makes sense because if you're looking at our demand schedule, okay, right here, well, this shows that exact same relationship. If we move the price from 13 to 9, okay, well, we see a decrease in price, and the quantity, though, goes up on the x-axis, okay, just like this. Okay, and vice versa with increase in price. The other thing is a shift. If there is a shift, it is called a change in demand, okay? And these are non-price factors. These are non-price factors, okay? So stuff that's happening in society that can cause an entire shift in demand, okay? This is what that would look like. Okay, so you see a decrease, and we are totally moving the demand curves, okay? And we are showing a D1 to D2. That brings us to tripe, okay? If you don't know what tripe is the intestines of cattle or sheep, okay? And that's what we use to remember what can shift demand, okay? And there's 5 things. Tripe, T, taste and preferences, okay? R, related goods. I, income. P, population. E, expectations, okay? All of those can change. Now, I'm looking at this, tastes and preferences. Number 1, demand increases when a good becomes more popular. So if something becomes popular in society, well, that will mean demand increases. If something becomes less popular, that means demand decreases, which makes sense, okay? How do they do this? Through advertising, okay? Through trends, through health studies. Advertising, if a celebrity endorses something, it should increase the good. Maybe it's a celebrity people don't like. Well, then it decreases the good, okay? Trends, if look back at like fidget spinners, silly bands, those were things that were very trendy. Demand went up for them. And something we all want is to be more healthy. So if there's a study saying that this will, drinking coffee will make you more healthy, well, that would increase in demand, okay? Because people want to be healthy. So what might that look like? Instead of just going from one price to another, we are actually switching what the quantity demanded is. And that's very important, okay? Because that shows the shift. So this would be if we started $13 and people bought 60 in a day. Well, now if it increases, people are at $13, 85 people will buy a ribeye. If there is a trend for it, okay? If there is a taste, if there is a preference. The other thing is it decreases. Well, at $13, it was at 60, but now it decreases to only 40 people are buying it. What if steak says that you get dumber? Ribeye, if you eat ribeye, it makes you dumber, okay? That could shift the demand curve. Now, the other thing is related goods, the R, okay? We have substitutes, we have complements. The R tells us if we have substitutes, okay, which, for example, is chicken versus beef. If chicken goes up in price, okay, less people are going to buy chicken. So beef is an alternative to it. It is a substitute that you can have it. So more people will buy chicken, or more people will buy beef, okay? So demand goes up for beef. And then you have complements, okay? So like peanut butter and jelly. If price goes down for peanut butter, more people are going to want jelly, okay? Because peanut butter is on sale, but if jelly's at the same price, you can still get peanut butter and jelly for a discount, okay? Those are complements, and those are seen throughout the world. Now, we also have income, okay? There are normal goods, there are inferior goods. The way I look at this is you have your brand name stuff or your store brand name. Best example, Lucky Charms is your normal good, okay? Your inferior good is malto meal, which is marshmallow mateys, okay? So if your income goes up, demand for that good will go up for a normal good, okay? You're more willing to spend money on expensive things. If your income goes up, the demand for the inferior good will go down because you don't want to buy the inferior goods, and vice versa, okay? Income changes your purchasing power. If more people move to an area, well, there are going to be more buyers, which then increases demand. If people move away from an area, well, there will be fewer buyers and demand will decrease. Population expands the demand and grows a market, okay? Expectations, finally. If prices are expected to rise, demand increases today. So if you think that something's going to go up, okay, you want to buy it right now so you don't have to pay the extra money in the future. If prices are expected to fall, demand decreases today. Okay, so it's vice versa. If you think that the prices are going to drop, if there's going to be a sale, if it's a Black Friday, you're going to wait to buy that thing. Okay, that is tripe. That is all the determinants. Why does this matter? Because this shows that demand is driven by producer decisions. Okay, and it reacts to consumer behaviors.